Let's take you to Minneapolis now, where the city is under a curfew, but that hasn't stopped the protesters. The governor admits the police can't control the situation. NBC's Morgan Chesky is on the ground there. Morgan, what is the response to the National Guard moving in?
The response will be much more visible than what we've seen in nights past, but I do want to make a very clear difference between the protests that we have seen during the day here in Minneapolis and the activities by the masses that have taken place at night. And the governor acknowledged that also, saying that 80% of the arrests that took place in the early morning hours and today were from people that were out of state. And so he was trying to draw that line as these people are here, that there are peaceful protests to be had, and that are entirely separate from the devastation and the destruction that we've seen from those groups of people that have moved in at night and essentially had free reign in certain parts of the city because police were not able to move in or simply chose not to. So with the arrival of 1,000 new National Guardsmen today, that should definitely change the situation when that 8 p.m. curfew goes into effect this evening. However, any actual enforcement, we'll have to wait and see. Robin?
Morgan, is it fair to say that these protests have degenerated into chaos?
I think it depends on what protest we look at, because during the day, protests such as this one have existed in a very peaceful manner, beginning about a mile away from here near the 5th Precinct Police Station in Minneapolis, before marching to this intersection where we're at right now. And we're very close to where George Floyd lost his life on Monday evening. And so right now, crowds have been keeping relatively peaceful. However, we've seen the disintegration of peaceful protest into looting, into vandalism earlier this week. So it's a case-by-case basis, Robin. I think that officials are trying to make sure that people understand it's certainly safe to come out here, to gather, to try to send their message as best they can. But what will not be allowed anymore, at least the governor is trying to prevent it from happening, is what we've seen the past several nights, and that's been block by block, lit on fire, vandalized, and looted, really turning parts of Minneapolis into unrecognizable areas. Robin?
But has the message of what happened to George Floyd been lost?
I would answer that question, Robin, by saying that for these people, the message for George Floyd has definitely not been lost, and that's why they feel it's even more incumbent upon them to come out here today, to peacefully protest, to gather in this way in a very diverse group, because their message that George Floyd did not die in vain and that justice will be served is what they're trying to send. And this is very much a reaction to not only George Floyd's death, but to the damage we've seen night in and night out here in Minneapolis, because the people here tell me that they're afraid that all of that violence will overshadow what they're calling a peaceful message. So there is a lot of dissension and anger still in what happened to George Floyd, but the group of people that I'm gathered surrounded by today, they very much want to have justice pursued, but they want to separate themselves from that group of people that have caused so much damage in this city. Robin?
Morgan Chesky in Minneapolis tonight.